Boat building in the Mahone Bay area began with Mi'kmaq building birch bark canoes. Birch trees are commonly found in Nova Scotia. Birch bark canoes are very light, which is useful for combined water and land travel, an essential component of the Mi'kmaq way of life. The Mi'kmaq have lived here in Atlantic Canada for over 10,000 years and chose to live in areas like Mahone Bay because of the rivers for traveling and fishing purposes. The shallow bay was perfect for fishing using stone weirs. The rivers and shallow bay are also the reasons our bay was perfect for shipbuilding. Starting in 1750, over 2,000 foreign Protestants, mostly from France and Germany, were brought from Europe to Halifax by the British government who were trying to counteract the Mi'kmaq and French Acadian Catholics who were already here. The foreign Protestant settlers were then brought to Lunenburg in 1753 and received their 30-acre farmland around 1754. They were likely surprised to find their farmland full of trees, but this led to very busy sawmills that provided wood for building materials. Mahone Bay was a perfect place for sawmills. Along the Mahone Bay area's trees, there were also two rivers. This was very important as the running water was used to transport logs to and from the sawmill, and the running water powered the sawmill's equipment. When trees were cut down further inland, they were pulled by horse or oxen using large logging sleds until they got to the river. The logs were then put in the river to float down to the sawmill. The running water also powered the sawmill's blades by turning a large wheel in the river, which would move a stationary saw up and down that the wood was then pushed into. These Mahone Bay sawmills played a major role in the development of our shipbuilding industry. When the British were recruiting foreign Protestants, they were looking to bring over farmers and specialized occupations, one of which was millers to operate mills. They succeeded because 5 mills were established very quickly in the Mahone Bay area to start clearing the trees from the farmland. For example, the Keddy sawmill was built around 1777 on the Mooshimoosh River, which feeds into the Mahone Bay. This form of transportation was very important, as they would have had to travel from Mahone Bay to Lunenburg regularly for supplies, and roads were not developed right away. Currently, the first large schooner that we can prove was built here in Mahone Bay was built in 1817. However, according to surviving records for ship registrations, boat building in this area only started to pick up around 1830. By 1850, at least 43 vessels had already been built by small shipyards in the Mahone Bay area. Larger shipyards began being established to build mainly schooners and other smaller vessels, primarily for fishing and moving goods. As years passed, the trend was to build larger vessels for longer distance trading with the United States, West Indies, and elsewhere. 6 major shipyards producing many vessels were active in Mahone Bay area between 1850 and 1942. In 1901, Obed Ham established his shipyard on Main Street, just down the harbor from the Ernst Yard. The yard focused on the design and production of the custom-built pleasure craft ranging from a 16-foot catboat to a 128-foot yacht. Ham retired in 1932 after building over 400 vessels. Obed Ham, written up in his time as the Genius of Mahone, was Nova Scotia's first builder of pleasure yachts, a trend that continued in Mahone Bay until 1975 when Pace Ship Yachts closed. Abraham Ernst / Ernst & Sons / Ernst Shipbuilding. Abraham Ernst's first recorded ship was built in 1888. His shipyard was located near the corner of the Faubourg Road and Main Street in front of where the RPS Composites factory is today. Primarily building vessels for the fisheries and cargo, including some designed specifically for rum running, the yard operated until 1942, during which time it built at least 100 ships. John H. Zwicker. John Zwicker, brother of Elkanah, began operation in 1862 in a location adjacent to the present-day town wharf. It is claimed that the yard built a total of 148 vessels. However, to date, only 51 registration forms have been found for vessels built by John H. Zwicker. One of his vessels was said to be the largest ever constructed in Mahone Bay, the 1,200-ton, 183-foot, full-rigged ship Kinburn in 1873. The yard closed in 1906 and was purchased by John McLean in 1917. John McLean and Sons Shipyard. John McLean established his yard in 1865, however registrations for vessels have only been found starting in 1900. It was located between Mater's Wharf and the present-day Town Wharf. John McLean earned his master's shipbuilding credentials at the age of 21. Upon John's death in 1910, his sons carried on the business, expanding by buying the John H. Zwicker Yard in 1917 and went on to build 74 ships until 1959. Elkanah Zwicker / Titus Langell. The first commercial shipyard in Mahone Bay was established in 1850 by Elkanah Zwicker and sold in 1862 to Titus Langell. Between 1866 and 1889, Langell built 22 vessels. The shipyard was located near the Michael O'Connor Memorial Bandstand on Main Street near the parking lot of the Independent Grocery Store. Henry Schneer. Founded in 1884, Henry Schneer's yard was located on the harbor between St. James Anglican and St. John's Lutheran churches. A relatively small operation, it produced approximately 24 vessels from 1888 to 1911, ranging from 22 to 100 tons, approximately 50 to 90 feet long. The ships had to be launched laid over on their sides due to the shallow waters of the bay. By the end of World War I, there was no longer much demand for sailing vessels, so the local shipyards began designing and building power vessels that used engines for fishing and moving goods, including rum running. Although fishing vessels were still being built until 1967, after World War II the industry transitioned to mainly constructing pleasure boats. Fiberglass sailboats were built on the site of the present RPS Composites factory located at 740 Main Street under several different company names, including Pace Ship Yachts. Although the types of boats being built changed over the years, boat building was still going strong 100 years later in 1930. Mahone Bay Plycraft Co. built thousands of laminated plywood runabout boats from 1949 to 1962. Commercial shipbuilding in the town of Mahone Bay wrapped up around 1975 when the last fiberglass yachts were built at Pace Ship. Mahone Bay was a perfect place for shipbuilding due to the quantity of trees, the river operating the sawmills, and the bay's natural shallow shore and deep basin, which was perfect for launching vessels. The Mahone Bay Museum has an online database of over 500 boats that we know were built in Mahone Bay, and every year we add more. Visit our website to view the database under Research Resources if you would like to know more about a specific vessel built in the Mahone Bay area.